Good evening. Welcome to the study session of January 14th, 2024. Donna, can you do a roll call, please?
Councilmember Blush.
Here.
Councilmember Stern.
Here.
Councilmember Gilmore.
Here.
Karen Esco.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sherman.
Here.
Councilmember Sapp.
Here.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Here. Thank you, Donna. Tonight, we have one item and City Manager Mark Ziegler has information for us about boards committee assignments.
Thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members. It's our annual opportunity to review council boards and committee assignments. We typically do this at the beginning of the year as we enter into the new year. I know there's a couple needed edits and changes. Maybe the border committee isn't active anymore. And I thought we'd give this opportunity to council to review your schedule, maybe your priorities, how this will progress into the new year. And if you've got some interest in some other board committee you haven't been serving on, or there's opportunities to fill something else in. It's a good time to talk about this, and we would bring this back on the 21st for ratification by the council. Start at the top of the list, the Lodging and Tax Advisory Committee that is set as the mayor's representative by ordinance. And then I don't know if I guess I can just leave this open for discussion. I know there's one of the transit authority boards, the joint meeting that isn't appropriate anymore, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I talked to
Okay.
Amy Asher today. She doesn't even know what that meeting was even for.
So we can cross
The
that
the
one
joint
off.
meeting, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I guess we can just leave it up for discussion if there's any.
I guess we'd start with George to see if he's happy with what he has, if he's interested in anything else.
Good.
Melissa.
Yeah.
You're good, Tom.
I've had a scheduling issue with MaceCom over the last couple of months, so I'd be willing to switch that one out. Things have changed over there with new management and it's looking good. So it's a fun one to pick up, I think. And I'm just having a little bit of a challenge. So
I'd be willing to give you the Mason County Transit Authority Board second Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
that would work better.
I mean,
That's the Transit Authority's third Thursday, MaceCom second Tuesday.
no, it's a, I'm sorry, mine is third Tuesday at
Third
1
Tuesday.
o'clock.
Third Tuesday.
That 4 o'clock is wrong. We changed that about a year ago. So I'd be willing to trade that for MaceCom if you wanted to do that. Unless anybody else is interested in swapping. So
Tuesdays. Could probably make that one work. Afternoons are easier than mornings for me.
which one?
MaceCom. Whatever works for you guys.
I mean, did you want to swap one? Or-
Okay,
I mean, I'm okay swapping him. I mean, unless you want to swap something.
uh,
I mean, if you're good with what you have, then I'm good with the swap.
Are all your times working for you, Melissa?
yeah, I was just say afternoon a lot of times is easier than morning, but I'm fine with what.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Left board, that doesn't meet on a, right?
It's every.
Are
yes,
they
it's
meeting
first
every Tuesday?
It's-
Terrific.
It's first Tuesday, yep, we
Good.
always do, always.
Awesome.
we can come back to that if that's an issue for you.
Yeah, if the 8 AM is too tough for you, Melissa, I don't.
It's on the phone, so obviously
Oh.
it's easy, yeah,
Okay.
and there, yeah, no, that one is totally fine.
So I'm fine with what I have. I was just willing, if it's mornings and somebody has one in the mornings they can't do, I can do mornings. I don't mind that. So I just have to be at my place of business by 10. So I was just gonna put that out there. If somebody had something that morning that doesn't work for them, and they need somebody to take over, I would be willing to do that.
Cool, Lindsay?
I'm happy with the housing board. I have a pretty flexible schedule, so I can offer myself as a backup or fill in any holes
Cool.
necessary.
Miguel, you happy with what you have?
I am. You have one correction. The Board of Health meets quarterly now, not every other month.
Okay, terrific. And do we have a contact with, is it Mason County Public Health that is the kind of the coordinator contact or? is it- Okay.
Shoot.
Dave Window.
Dave.
Oh,
Dave.
great. Okay,
Dave.
we've got his contact. We'll make sure that's it. And there's always an opportunity to have alternates. We haven't had alternate reps in here over this past year, but it's not a bad idea to say, raise your hand. We can throw alternates in here in case somebody doesn't make the meeting. They can reach out to the alternate.
Well, they need to check with their committees or boards, what their bylaws say. I think the housing board didn't have it in their bylaws for an alternative
Okay.
when we tried that a couple years
Okay.
ago. So probably check with our boards and see.
Because it's a city representative though, correct?
So,
In their bylaws?
Yeah, I guess it would be, wouldn't it?
That's my understanding.
Well, yeah,
But-
interesting.
Not a bad. Double check,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So it sounds like we're good there. So I had one other pitch that I wanted to talk about, the subcommittees for finance and for homeless response. I'm on the subcommittee for finance budget, and we have also a council for homeless response. I kind of like to eliminate those and have those be a full council discussion in front of the public. I think that it's important the public sees what we're talking about, ideas we have for budget and homeless response. So what do you guys think about that? Just think it should be a study session thing that maybe we can do monthly or whatever we decide. Instead of having these 3-person committees, I think we just have to do a full council study session and in front of the public.
No objections.
George? Yeah, I just think it should, I think it's more transparent. if We just do it in the study session format. Melissa? Good? Tom?
I like it.
Sure.
yeah, I mean, I guess if I have something that I would have questions on, I could just do it in my morning meeting. I can just do it. And I
Mhm. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, not taking away Mark from this. No, he is still.
Yeah,
there for-
I think the intent is still, we continue with briefing schedules prior to regular scheduled meetings. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I just think it's important that we have these as a full council. We're elected as a full council, and then also the public can see what we're talking about. The budget one, what ideas we have.
I think leading up to your point, leading up to budget formulation, I've talked with most of you about a retreat coming up first quarter of this year. That'll focus on service levels. And so that'll be our first step towards formulating 2026 budget. Finance Director Gibbons and I have already been talking about a more robust discussion about debt service. What our debt service looks like, what our investments look like in study sessions. We sort of like to do that in that study session format for the entire council rather than the budget subcommittee. We hope that, we formulate enough direction from that retreat with service levels, we can start formulating the budget, and potentially it might be even another retreat to formulate budget, or it's just done through the study session format. So it all kind of depends what we get from you all sometime in most likely April. So kind of put that on your radar a little bit. I'll throw out some potential dates in April for retreat. I think it's really important. What we haven't done necessarily is talked about service levels across the board city. So that means kind of examining what are mandatory services, what are required of us to do by the state, what might be core services that really we should do, what's typical for municipalities, what we may have codified within our municipal code, what might be discretionary services that we provide in the community, and then what are funded, what have dedicated funding you really can't, change those much at all or dedicate that funding someplace else. Talk about service levels throughout all those categories. That'll better inform staff how we start developing the budget moving forward, particularly if we start looking at reduction of services or changing services around. It might not even be, across the board reductions or a reduction in one service. It might just be truing up some services based on the council's input. So that's kind of my plan moving through 2025 with our budget formulation. It'll also formulate some of our strategic planning as that our strategic planning goals were 2022, 2025. So to help kind of formulate those and maybe reframe some of our strategic planning initiatives. So
Well, you're just trying to throw off my 12 minutes.
I'm trying to
But I-
get there again.
We have 2 minutes on my clock. So is there a chance in the near future, we can have a study session on water flow for fires? And if we were to have a fire either in downtown, how many buildings we put out? If we had a fire, on the outskirts where there's woods, I mean, what can we do there? Just make sure that when we come to hook up a hose, there's water.
Yeah.
To put out a, fire. I mean, I imagine we need the fire department and, Public Works and everybody to kind of get together and do a little brainwashing and make sure that
It's on everybody's minds right now, right? What we're facing, what we're seeing happen in California, and it's concerning, particularly when you see the weather conditions they're facing. And it's almost impossible to address that severe of an event, but we want to prepare as much as we can. We've talked about the needs for residential use and for fire flow for residential use, right? And the storage needs that we have. We're just getting the completion of our reservoir studies that'll better inform us on what our needs are for residential and commercial development. It doesn't necessarily address what you need in the case of wildland fires or something like that. If it really expands into I don't even know what you call it, catastrophe. Yeah. So there's two things with that. There's storage, but also there's supply. Your reservoirs are great, but if there's not a well filling those reservoirs to keep up with demand, then you're out of luck. And I think that's one issue that, City of California, they're primarily from runoff and snow melt. And so when that's down and you're not pumping it out of the ground, you've got a deficiency that you need to address. So we're formulating some of that with some redundancies, some backup generation at our well sites in case power lines go down, whatever, windstorm, snowstorm, ice storm, whatever, fire, whatever that might be. We have power supply at our wells, so it does continue to fill our reservoirs so we can meet that demand. Not only for emergencies, but also just potable water, right? For drinking and sanitation. So yeah, absolutely. We're happy to put something together.
Council, have any items for discussion?
Actually, not about it to me, actually, my community. And I don't think. So when you apply for a permit for an event, you also have to apply for a permit for the sign that says on these days, Forest Fest is coming to town, whatever it is, the big reader board that they set out. Is that a separate permit?
So the mobile message boards that we use,
Yeah.
no, we'll put those out if there's traffic revisions.
Okay.
So typically, no, it's not another permit. The permit for the message boards are on the north and south side of town. Those electronic message boards, there is a separate permit and process for those.
Okay, but it's not.
But the mobile ones, if there's not a use for those already because of whatever traffic revisions or something, we'll put those out to notify the public of a street closure, traffic revision, just as a public service.
We talked about just informational, like rates coming next weekend, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those ones on, do we own those?
They're out on Coda right now. We have 4 of those.
No, not those ones. You talk about the ones on Olympic Highway South up there at the wheel and.
No, like
Oh.
the ones that are mobile.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're on each side of Coda right now, identifying angle parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll put those out, say on Railroad Avenue prior to the parade, just saying Forest Festival Parade Saturday. And it's not necessarily to advertise the parade,
Right.
it's to advertise the street closure.
Okay.
And just to eliminate as much confusion as we can when people are
Like
planning
spectacular.
planning their day. Yeah, exactly right. You know what, I can't tell you definitively whether we say what the event is or if it's just a street closure. That may be just staff doing that in the field if they've got room. within the reader board. But it's not intentional to advertise the event. It's intentional to just notify the public of a revision to
Got it.
traffic. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Right.
Mr. Mayor, one thing, I'm proposing, canceling the January 28th
I'm just gonna mention.
study session. I'm sorry. Forget that I said it.
No,
Okay. We don't have a robust schedule at this point, for that, study session. I will be out of town, so if you don't mind, don't impose any more, work on our staff in the evening. They've got a fairly, long schedule on 21st, so sure they'll maybe probably do a better job, pick up the slack on the 21st for me. But if we give us the grace of canceling on the 28th, and we'll be back on the 24th with another regular meeting.
all right. I'm never gonna cry about missing a meeting. All right. So our next meeting will be January 21st. Outside of our consent agenda, we're gonna have a presentation, Officer of the Year. We're gonna have a November financial status report. Also on the business agenda, we're gonna have a Parks Advisory Committee appointment hearing. And then on our action agenda, we're gonna have the resolution accepting the memorandum of agreement with Washington State University extension, right? We issue.
Yeah.
Resolution, on-call A&E consultant pool agreements, and an ordinance on repealing, for hire vehicles, also establishing a creative district. And we're gonna have the official council board and committee assignments, to vote on. And then again, we're gonna have no study session on January 28th. And this study session is adjourned at 6:16 PM.